Hello everyone, my name is Espik23 here for a KTaNE module tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to be covering the Deck of Many Things module. Now, as the module's name suggests, this module contains a deck of many different cards. And not all these cards are what you expect to be, like that one. Actually got unlucky. This deck, as you can see, has 40 cards and has cards of all sorts of different types of decks. We're going to start by going through the decks right here. The standard deck is something like this right here, and also this, just from a regular deck of 52 cards. The Metropolitan deck is like this one, or the colors for red and black suits are swapped, so we have red clubs, red spades, black hearts, and black diamonds. The Maritime deck is this one. If the rank is 11 or higher, I think it goes up to 17, but that 12 of spades is not a usually thing. Arctic deck is something like this, where the color is only in the outline and doesn't actually fill the whole shape of the suit. That's the Arctic deck. The Tropical deck is something like this, or is there another one? Here's another one, where the suit color is not red or black. The Oasis deck uses a suit like here we have the Five of Moons that isn't a usual suit. Or there's the Seven of Hands, Queen of Moons. And last one is the Celestial deck. This one doesn't have a suit, it only has a value and Roman numerals at the top. We'll get to what that means in a little bit. So to solve the module, we need to find the first valid card and submit that using this button right here. This module does require edgework, so let's grab it. Okay. We have 3 batteries and 2 holders. We have an unlit November SA, plate DVI RCA, plate empty. Serial number is 0 Romeo 4 Hotel Lima 9. Excuse me. So let's look at this deck. So to find our valid cards, they need to have both a valid rank and valid suit. To find a valid rank, we need edgework. So we're going to take all our indicators and ports. In this case, we have a November SA, which is right here, a DVI port, which is also right here, but we've already marked it, and an RCA port, which is right here, and then always mark the ace. So our valid ranks are 6, 8, and ace. The valid suits are dependent on the deck. This is a 13 of spades, which is the Maritime deck. Now, we don't actually know what the rank is. So whenever a card is not in the standard deck, we have to translate it to the standard deck. And there's a different method for every deck, besides Celestial deck, and we'll get to that in a second. We're going to start with the Maritime deck, which is down here. So what we need to do is we need to take this suit from Maritime deck to convert to standard deck. We need to multiply the displayed rank, which is 13, by the number of batteries plus 1. We have 3 batteries, so the 3 plus 1 is 4. So 13 times 4 should be 52, and it is. There's an empty port plate. We have an empty port plate. Add 10 to the number. Divide the obtained number by the number of lit indicators plus 1, ignoring fractions. In this case, we have no lit indicators, so we have 0 lit indicators plus 1, which is 62 divided by 1, which is still 62. When it says ignore fractions, it means ignore anything past the decimal point. If the serial number contains a vowel, subtract the displayed rank, which is this, to the current number. We don't have a vowel, so we're not going to apply that rule. And then finally, if the number is not between 1 and 13, we're going to subtract 13 or add until it is. So 62 minus 13 is 49, minus 13 again is 36, again to get 23, and again to get 10. So this rank for this card is 10, and we keep the same suit as it is. So we have the 10 of spades. So this 13 of spades in the maritime deck, translated to the standard deck, is the 10 of spades. So now we know the valid card rank. It's the 10. So our valid suits are clubs and hearts. I'll be shortening all suits to 3 letters for the sake of this tutorial. So now we know what our valid ranks and suits are. Let's just see if this card's valid. Well, we don't have a valid rank or suit, so this first card is not valid. So we move on to the next card, the 14 of hearts, which is also in the maritime deck. So I'm going to take 14, multiply it by number of batteries plus 1, so 14 times 4 is 56, and 10 for the empty port plate, divide by 1, which stays at 66, and subtract 13 to get 1, which is ace. So this card is the ace of hearts, has a valid rank and a valid suit, so we press submit. And that's a solved module. Let's look at a different one. Let's not do that one. Let's do this one, yes. On the same bomb, the valid ranks will be the same because we have the same as work. However, the valid suits are going to be different since we need to recalculate them. This is the Oasis deck. I'm going to just refresh. We already have 6, 8 ace and Oasis deck. So Oasis deck is down here. To get the value from an Oasis deck, all we need to do is take the displayed rank, which is 5, and multiply it by this, whatever's in here that corresponds to the suits. The suits in this case are stars, at least I think that's a star, moons, suns, and hands. And in case, I should have mentioned this earlier, I was going to, but in terms of translating a number between 1 to 13 in ranks, ace is 1, jack is 11, queen is 12, and king is 13. Similar to the module point of order. So we're going to multiply 5 by the number of ports, which is 2 ports to get 10. Now we're going to look at this table for 10. If you know how to do the 2 bits module, then this table should look familiar to you. What we need to do is take the tens place and then find it in here and highlight that row, and find the units place and then highlight the column. So this translates to 6 of diamonds, and if this number was above 52 or below 0, you do the same thing except 52, and make sure the number is between 0 and 51. So 6 of diamonds. So this card is the 6 of diamonds, and that is a valid rank. And from this we actually can see it's a valid suit as well, so we can submit the first card here. And that's a solved module. I got really lucky. Usually I don't get this lucky. Wasn't there a... Yep, there was. Alright. Let's do this again. Ace of hands. This is Oasis deck again. It's back up here. So ace, which is 1, times the serial number digit total, which is the sum of the digits of the serial number. I should get rid of these. Which is 13. So 1 times 13 is 13, and 13 corresponds to 3 of hearts. So now we know that this is the 3 of hearts. So our first, our rank is between 2 and 6, and our valid suits are going to be diamonds and spades. This card is not valid. We can move on. The king of red spades. So this is Metropolitan deck. Now just by looking at this, if you read this, you can say that the rank is always the same. So if you know how this works, we can actually just move on to the next card, but I'm going to show you how this works anyway. So what we need to do is take the displayed suit, which is spades, and find it in this wheel right here. The arrow is going to point to the first suit you're going to be looking for, and I didn't read this rule beforehand. Okay. So, we're going to go forward around the circle, clockwise if the number of batteries is even, and counterclockwise if it's odd. In this case, it's odd, so we're going to be moving counterclockwise around this circle. And we move it to the number of lit indicators. We have no lit indicator, so we don't move it at all. But if we were to have one lit indicator, we would move to hearts, and this card would become the king of hearts. But since we don't have any lit indicators, this is still King of Spades. Valid suit, but not valid rank. Next. Okay, this is the Arctic deck. The Arctic deck, what you need to do is take the number of batteries, which is 3. I'm going to actually mark this in yellow. And the number of ports, which is 2. In this row, or in these rows, we need to find the valid, or not the valid, but the displayed suit and rank, which are 6 of diamonds. I'm going to take the serial number digit total, which is 13. And for the top table, we're going to go right 13 around the table. And for the left table, we're going to go, for the bottom table, we're going to go left 13 around the table. And we're going to wrap around. So we go 13, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. In this case, because it's exactly 13, I go right back to where I started, but usually this doesn't happen. But now we know that this card isn't actually a 6. Number of ports, we're going to go to the left 13, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Means that this card is a 6 of hearts, valid rank, not valid suit. Next card. Alright. This is the Celestial deck. We need to take the Roman numeral that's on the card, which is 8. And 8 is justice. I should change this back to blue. If the serial number digit total is even, all odd ranks are valid. Otherwise, all even ranks are valid. So, yeah, these cards are really just meant to change the rules of the module. They're nothing, you cannot submit them. Submit them will always be incorrect. So yeah. Now all even ranks are valid since our serial number total digit is odd. We go to the next card. 8 of red spades. Alright, we're back up here. I'm pretty sure we already said that, yeah, this table doesn't move for Metropolitan deck. And we have 8 of spades, that's valid, so we can submit, and that's a solved module. So, let's look at this one now. We're going to get the same ranks as before, which is 6, 8, and ace. And our valid suits, in this case, will always be spades for right now, since it has no value. We're going to go down to the Celestial deck right away. Judgment. If after this card, there are 10 or less cards in the sequence, all ranks are valid. Otherwise, only 10 is valid. Suits remain unchanged. As you can see, this... actually, you can't really tell. But this deck has 40 cards, and there's 39 cards remaining. So there's more than 10 cards remaining, so only 10 is going to be valid now. So this deck is pretty strict in what's valid. Anyway, 3 of red clubs. Clubs translate to hearts. We have no lit indicator, so we don't move at all. And we know that's if we could have checked for the valid rank already, but we just know. 18 of spades. Alright. The suit's the same, so we can proceed with this. Oh, there's 18. I thought it stopped at 17. I guess not. Excuse me. So multiply the displayed rank by number of batteries plus 1. So 18 times 4 is 72. I'm just doing it in my calculator this time. There's an empty port plate, so we add 10, we get 82. Divide by 1, there's no vowel, and subtract 13 until it is between 1 and 13. Which gives us to 4. This is the 4 of spades, not valid. Next. Alright, do we have... We've done this, we've done... Yeah. Okay, so the only deck we haven't done yet is the Tropical deck. Tropical deck, what we need to do is find what the card looks like, the Queen of Purple Hearts. We need to find Queen of Hearts in this honeycomb grid. It's right here. So we need to take the direction based on the color, southwest, and move 1 cell in that direction. Southwest leads to 6 of clubs, which is not valid. Before we move on though, this does have wraparound. So the example that this gives in the manual that a blue 4 of diamonds, which moves northwest, will go to 2 of clubs. And a purple 4 of spades, which is down here, goes southwest to is 4 of spades, since it goes southwest and then back to itself. It all has to be in the same row or column or whatever we want to call this. I don't know how it works with 6-sided things. Metropolitan deck. We already know that's not a valid rank. Standard Jack of Spades. Now, usually there is a little bit of calculations between its card translated into standard deck, but whenever you see standard deck as a diffuser, don't leave the expert just yet, unless another expert has some important stuff to do. 6 of black diamonds. Suits the same. No, wait, no, this is not. This is what? Okay, I'm confused now, but yeah, this is Metropolitan deck. We know it's not valid. And same with that one. And that one. Oh, 10 of spades. That's simple enough, right? So now let's say if we were to go through this whole deck and didn't find any valid cards at all, which I believe is pretty rare. You're more common to get in like in the first 10 cards. I mean, if you're getting anything past 20 cards, then you're either really unlucky or you may have done something wrong. But if you know what you're doing, you're probably just unlucky. But if there are no valid cards in this deck at all, you press submit when there's nothing. As you can see, that was wrong, because there was a valid card somewhere in here. So yeah, this module can either be really quick, like some of these, or really long, depending on if you get lucky or not. A problem I have with this module is that, especially if you're going super far into a deck without a valid card, it might tell your expert that they may have messed up, even if they maybe didn't. Not something I really like to see when doing a module, is that I may have messed up, but I may not have, but you're more likely to have messed up, especially going that far into module. I don't think that's really well designed, but fortunately this is fixed to be more common to be early. But anyway, that's it for this module, so thank you guys for watching this, and as always, keep talking and don't explode.